All right, let's talk about something we have all been through. You've got that one big, important thing on your to-do list. You know you need to do it, you want to do it, but for some reason, you just don't. Today, we're going to dig into the actual science of why our brains do this, and more importantly, how to fight back. Man, isn't that the truth? The deadline is breathing down your neck, and all of a sudden cleaning the grout in your bathroom seems like the most urgent, compelling mission on planet Earth. It's so frustrating, right? And it always comes with this side of guilt that just makes everything feel 100 times worse. But what if I told you this has nothing to do with being lazy? Seriously, the reason you procrastinate isn't because you're undisciplined or somehow broken. It's because there is a literal tug of war happening inside your brain. It's a battle between your ancient primal instincts and your modern goal-setting self. So to figure out how to win this war, we first need to meet the two combatants who are fighting for control inside your skull. Okay, so on one side, you've got your limbic system. Let's just call this your inner toddler. It's one of the oldest, most powerful parts of your brain, and you know what? It only cares about two things: what feels good right now and avoiding anything that feels bad right now. Then on the other side, you have your prefrontal cortex. We'll call this the CEO. This is the logical, grown-up part of your brain. It makes plans, it thinks about the future, it understands consequences. The problem is, when a big, scary task shows up, the inner toddler throws an absolute fit, and its screams are often loud enough to completely drown out the calm, rational voice of the CEO. So why is that inner toddler so dang powerful? Well, it's not fighting fair. It's got a couple of highly effective biological weapons it uses to get its way. Weapon number one is the amygdala. Think of this as your brain's super sensitive smoke detector. When it sees a difficult or boring task, it doesn't see an opportunity for growth. Nope, it sees a threat. The threat of failure, of frustration, of just being uncomfortable. So it smashes the panic button, flooding your system with stress and anxiety, basically screaming, "Abort mission, do anything else." And where do you run when that alarm goes off? Straight towards an easy hit of dopamine. Now, we think of dopamine as the pleasure molecule, but it's really more about motivation and reward. Checking your phone for a new notification, boom, little dopamine hit. Grabbing a cookie, boom, another one. These easy distractions give your inner toddler that quick, reliable reward it craves. And for a little while, the alarm goes quiet. And this is where it gets really sneaky. It creates this powerful feedback loop. The big task triggers stress. You avoid it by doing something easy. That avoidance brings immediate relief. And that feeling of relief, it acts as a reward, which teaches your brain, hey, when we feel stressed, avoiding the problem works. The more you do it, the more that habit gets hardwired. And to make it all even harder, your brain has this built-in bias called temporal discounting. It's a fancy term, but all it means is that your brain will almost always choose a small reward now over a big reward later. The immediate pleasure of watching that next YouTube video feels way more real and valuable than the abstract satisfaction of finishing that report a week from now. So when you put all this brain science together, it leads to a really profound shift in how we have to think about procrastination. This is the big aha moment. Let me say that again, because this is the most important takeaway. Procrastination is not a time management problem. You're not putting things off because you're bad at making a schedule. You're putting things off to avoid feeling bad, to avoid boredom, anxiety, confusion, or self-doubt. It is a coping mechanism for managing difficult emotions. But here's the best part. This is the really hopeful part. This isn't a permanent part of your personality. Procrastination is a learned behavior. And if your brain learned this pattern of avoidance, it means you can actively teach it a new one. You can literally rewire it. So how do we do that? How do we arm the CEO with the tools it needs to finally get that screaming inner toddler on its side? Well, let's get into some super practical, science-backed strategies. The guide this is based on actually lays out 7 really powerful strategies. But today, to keep it simple and actionable, we're going to zero in on the top 3. These are the ones you can start using like the second this is over. First up is the brilliant 2-minute rule. We all know the hardest part is just starting, right? So the trick is to shrink the task until it's so small it's almost laughable. Write a 10-page report is scary, but open a new document and write one single sentence. Anyone can do that. A 2-minute task is so non-threatening that it doesn't set off your brain's alarm bell. It's like a ninja move that gets you into action before your brain can object. Next, we've got the classic Pomodoro technique.
A huge, endless task is overwhelming, so this breaks it down. You set a timer and work with total focus for just 25 minutes. Then you must take a 5-minute break. That 25-minute chunk feels totally doable, right? And that guaranteed break at the end gives your brain a predictable reward to look forward to, which helps rewire it to see effort, not avoidance, as the path to a treat.
And tool number 3 is my personal favorite. It's called temptation bundling. This is where you pair something you need to do with something you really want to do. The rule is simple. You only get to do the fun thing while you are doing the not so fun thing. Like, you only get to listen to your favorite true crime podcast while you're cleaning the kitchen. Or you only get to watch that reality show you love while you're on the treadmill. It basically bribes your inner toddler by bundling the dopamine hit right into the task itself. It's genius.
And beyond those top 3, there are even more tools in the full toolkit. Things like cognitive reframing, which is about changing the story you tell yourself about the task, self-forgiveness, which is crucial because beating yourself up just makes it worse, and even simple things like changing your environment to hide distractions or just getting up and moving your body for a minute to change your state. They all work together to empower your inner CEO.
Now, the real key to all of this is remembering that the goal isn't to become a perfect, non-procrastinating robot overnight. That's never going to happen. The goal is just progress. It's about making one small, better choice today, and then another one tomorrow, to slowly build up muscle for action and weaken the old habit of avoidance. And I love this saying because it's just so true. When you look at the whole elephant, you're paralyzed. It's impossible, so don't. Just focus on one bite. What's one tiny bite you can take? Set one 25-minute timer, write one sentence. That's it. That's the win. So that's what I want to leave you with. Don't just absorb this information and move on. Think of one thing you've been putting off. Now pick one of these tools, just one. What is the one tiny, ridiculously small step you can take right now to get started? Because you can do it. You've got this.